So I'm going to show you how to color match your DJI Pocket 3 with whatever camera you're using. I'm using a Sony a7 IV, and it can really be a bit tricky, and I want to save you the trouble. So let's hop into Final Cut here. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your two camera clips and you're going to select both, and you're going to right click and do multicam clip. Now, I'm not going to go through the process, but you just select this and you basically hit OK. And you're going to end up double clicking, because this is what it looks like after. You're going to double click it and then it will give you these two timelines. Now, after you do that, I'm going to show you what I do specifically just so you can see how it's done. Now, after you do that, you're going to head over to where it says I, and you're going to go to LUT. What you want to do is you want to manually download the correct LUTs from Sony or from DJI versus using the one that Final Cut gives you for whatever the reason. I've had issues using those, so I download it from the source. Now here's what it looks like. You see, it's very bland, not a lot of color. So let's go to the LUT. And so the same thing with Sony, right? So after I do that, I like to kind of set up my space for the color matching workflow. So just go to Workspaces, I find color and effects, and then I come over here, I turn this thing off, and then I want to show, I like this one. So I go to waveform and then Luma, and then this one I'm doing the RGB parade and then waveform. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select an area, and I like having this camera card because it can show me where they actually end up. So as you can see, they're all right here, and then I know my face is about right there, which is exactly where I want it to be. I might have to bring it down a little bit. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to make my face match. It's way off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, and I'm going to add a color wheel, and I'm going to add a color curve, and I'm going to add, whoops, I didn't mean to do that one. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to delete that correction. I'm going to add color adjustment, and basically the same thing for the other camera angle. Color wheel, color curve. I don't need a second color curve, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to add a color adjustment. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this over a little bit so I could see my face a bit better. I'm going to go to the curve, and this Luma wave here, I want to do a couple things. I want to brighten the face up a little bit, but let's look at something really quick. Got the reds are almost to 100 on this one. So let's mess around with the global really quick. Just add a little bit of color. And this is my face, I think right here. So this one is at 75. So I'm going to go to this color wheel, and we're going to see what this does. So I just want to add a little bit of color. I'm going to go back up. I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to go down to the shadows. I'm going to move it up and down. And I see that it adds a little bit more color. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm just trying to add a little bit of color to my face. And then I'm gonna stay right here and I'm gonna see what I can do to bring the reds up a little bit. And that is just too much. So I'm gonna bring the mid-tones up just a tad. And let's see what the highlights do. Too much. So the reds on the bottom. Okay, so let's try something here. Still too much red, too bright. I'm going to bring the highlights down a little bit. So as you can see, my face is right here, right below 75. And on this one, it's pretty far below still. But right now I'm kind of focusing on the reds. So we're right above 75. Okay, so it's a little orange. Face is below 75. Okay, so now let's see what we can do. So now I want to match it a little bit. So the reds are good. Now I got to get the greens up. Okay, so I still got to get my face up a little bit, as you can see right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the color curve. I'm going to try something. So what I did is I just took that first Luma curve and I brought it up here to brighten the face. So we're just above 75. Let's see. So on this one, as you can see, my face is right here. Let's see here on the bottom. Do a little bit more. Then I'm going to bring the red down just a tad. Pretty close. All right, now for the green. The green looks pretty close. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. So ever so slight. Okay, so that's still too much green. I don't like it. Okay, and then the blue. And as you can see, you can kind of tell between the two, that color is pretty darn close on the face. So the red is sitting at 75, red is sitting at 75, green is just above, in between 75 and that line below. Same thing, blue, same thing. So this is very, very close, and it is two different angles, two different cameras. So it's a little bit brighter behind me on the DJI, but that orange is very close. The color of the shirt is a little bit lighter, I want to say, on the DJI. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to color adjustment, and I'm going to try a couple of things. I'm going to do black points is at 0 right now. I'm going to go to 3. Face is about the same. I'm going to try a couple of things really quick just to see if I can get the face a little bit redder. Okay, so I brought the saturation to 5 on the Sony. I'm going to do the saturation. I'm going to go up a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing on the Sony. I'm going to bring the contrast up just slightly. And there it is. So as you can see, it does take a little bit, but I promise you're going to get better at it, and it's going to become something that is not going to take you as long. This used to take me literally probably an hour to do, but once you start messing around with the tools, you figure out how to do things a lot better. You start learning how they work. I really like using the Luma form, the Luma waveform, and the RGB parade. So if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them below. And then I'm going to make a worksheet for this that you can use and follow along to. I'm going to drop the link for that in the comments if you want to download it. All right, I'll see you on the next video.